Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Before we go into what we're making today, I want to tell you all the description of all the product I'm using, and all the measurements will be listed below. There is a link to my online store. If you need a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be yours. Purchasing from my online store helps support this YouTube channel. Also, there is my email address. If you want to know something, how something's made, know more information about Stampin' Up!, or have any other questions, please drop me an email and I will get back to you. There's also a link to our Facebook group, and I'd love to have you join that. Finally, remember to like, share, subscribe to this YouTube channel so we can get it to grow. And if you ring the little bell, you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. So, on with what we're working on today. I want to discuss this particular set because I bought this set and it didn't do what I thought it was going to do. So let me show you. It's in the mini catalog. It's called Brush Bouquet. It's on page 63. Put my glasses on, of course. And when I first looked at this set, it comes with matching dies and the stamp set. And I thought, oh great, it looks like we have some solid dies here that may, cut these out and give some dimension to these flowers. They do not. They are independent dies. They are not part, there is a die to cut each of these flowers out, and they are two stamping, this one, this one, this one, these two, and these guys all go together. But I'm going to show you the dies in a few minutes. So I was sitting there trying to figure out what is the best way to use some of these dies. And so I'm going to show you what I came up with one of the ways. Of course, these are two-tone, or these are like the two-tone flora where you can, stamp, double stamping or two-step stamping. And they are quite pretty. But just, it threw me when I first got this set. So I just want you to be aware, if you look at this and think, oh great, it's going to cut those big flowers out and make nice pretty designs. It does not do that. But other than that, it is a great set. I do like the set. So the set comes, like I said, you got these flowers, these, and these are two-step. These are single, but they all go together. And then in here, we're not going to stamp any of these today. We are going to be using the dies. These are the dies I'm talking about here. They're detailed, but they're not a real deep die. So when you just do it on paper by itself, it's faint. Let's put it this way, it's faint. It's hard to see. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to pull out the 4 dies I'm going to be using, if I can get them off my magnet sheet. This is a magnet sheet I just put in here. I keep my dies with my stamp sets. Everybody stores theirs differently. So these are the 4 detailed dies we're going to be using. And we're going to put this on is what I call my clutch box. This is a little box. And this one opens with Velcro dots. I made this one with Velcro dots. I'm not overly thrilled with the Velcro dots. The next one we're making is a different color, and we are going to be using magnets on this one because I think it will close nicer with magnets. But as you can see, here are the flowers we're going to be making to go on our box. And the flowers will be a little different color because we're making a different color box. But that's what we're making, is these flowers first. The paper on here is from By the Bay, as I said, and this is a little gusseted. So if you carry it, and it's hard to show on TV, but if you're carrying it, it looks like a little clutch purse. And it's 6.5 inches wide. The base of this is 2 inches. And from the top to the bottom is 4.5. So it's a nice size box. Like I said, it's got a little gusset handle. You could play around with Velcro dots if you wanted. We'll see how it looks with the magnets when we get done. But that was the first one I made. But first we're going to make our embellishments. So what I'm going to grab is some scratch paper. Definitely need scratch paper. And I've grabbed Bermuda Bay, Balmy Blue, Petal Pink, and Pear Pizzazz, and that's for our leaf. So I'll put the leaf there, and I'm going to just pick a color for each of the stamps. I've just started for each die with them. And then I didn't want white. I wanted to use the actual color, so I have pieces of, I have extra too, just in case. There's a Balmy Blue, there's some pale, and there. So I'm just getting them lined out so I can, and I made sure these pieces were small enough to go through our small die cutting machine, because we're going to do these one at a time. If you don't, when you put the ink on the dies, because you're going to actually put ink directly on the die, they will start drying and your look comes out differently. So I like to do it as soon as possible. So we're going to get the machine up here, and then I'm going to show you how to ink these. Now, when you're done with these, take them to the sink. I use Dawn detergent. I just threw had a little bowl. I threw these in with Dawn detergent, washed them with some hot water into Dawn, got all the ink off of them, and set them on a paper towel and let them dry. And make sure they're really dry before you put them away, and they are perfectly fine. So anyhow, so let's get the little guy out here, and I'm just going to sort of set the little guy off to the side a little bit here. My desk isn't quite big enough to have everything out here, but I can get as much as I can. I move that a little bit, maybe I can. Just making a little room here. It's a lot of stuff to put in the frame of the camera. I'll get my plate up here and ready to go. And what you want to do is you want to grab, I'm going to zoom this first one in so you can see it. So you won't see me cut it, but you'll see me. This is the Petal Pink. Now, you could use sponge daubers. I've used sponge daubers doing this. It gives it a different look than the brushes, but play around with it. Do it on white paper instead of the color paper. I personally like the two-tone look it gets. So fill up your thing. You don't have to tap off. You just start tapping in to your die here, literally spreading the ink around. Now, Petal Pink is hard to see, but you can. I don't know if you can see it on there or not. It's very faint, but I can see it. I'm just really tapping the ink right into the thing. It won't hurt your brushes. Then I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to plop it onto my paper. And I'm going to quickly run it through the machine. So we're literally pressing the ink into the paper. And there is our flower. It really makes the flower stand out. Oop, sorry, I'm going to get back to where the camera is. There. My hands are really dirty. I've been crafting all day. So anyhow, that's the Petal Pink. Now, I just got a jar I'm going to throw these into as we go. Next we're going to do is the largest one, which is going to be Coastal Cabana. Yeah, it's sort of a different technique for doing stuff. I'm going to go ahead and toss that on there. I'm using, this is a big one, that was a small one. The other two, I think, are ones I had previous to Stampin' Up, kitting them out. I just grabbed what was available. And I'm going over it. You know, like I said, you don't have to daub off. I just want to make sure I've got a good covering around that. That looks good. Gently pick it up. You don't want to put your fingers into the middle of it. Drop it on. And run it through. Get rid of this one. And there is the Bermuda Bay. Okay, next we'll do the blue. And I'll back that camera out a little bit. There. You don't need a full-blown. And these dies, I'm just putting them into my my bowl. I put my dies in, and then it's metal. It can wash too. Now this is another color. It's going to be hard to see on there on the camera. It's hard for me to see, but I can see it getting in there. Okay, a little bit more. I think my Bermuda Bay needs ringed. Or no, I mean my Balmy Blue. Okay, let's see how this one turns out. And if you're doing a bigger project, and you had a lot of these, you could do, do one of, Balmy Blue in every single color and run them through at one time. But since I only need one of each. And there is the blue. And just to save time, you've seen me do this. The leaf comes out exactly the same, but the detail is quite beautiful in the leaf. I had done one already earlier, so we'll save ourselves a little time there. So that's our embellishments for the front of our little box. But if you don't have this set, you could use something else, or you could stamp them and die cut them. It's whatever you wanted. So, on with the box now, because we have to have something to put this on. Just one moment here while I move a few things out of my way. As I say, as I get working, my desk space gets smaller and smaller. And I need to get my board out here, my scoreboard. And it just keeps on getting smaller and smaller. And I have no room to work. So, we need some paper. You are going to need, to do this box, you're going to need 2 full sheets of paper. The first sheet you're going to cut at 6 1/4 by 11. Okay? Now out of the second piece, you're going to cut one that is 6 1/4 by 3 1/2, and you're going to cut 2 pieces that are 3 by 5. So this, and we'll go through where they all go in just a second. I'm gonna leave that one on there until we get to it. So we'll start with this piece first. On the 11-inch side, we are going to score at 4 1/2 and 6 1/2. And then on the 6 1/4 by 3 1/2 inch side, we are going to turn it to the 3 1/2 inch side. And we are going to score at a 1/2 inch and 1 1/2 inches. Okay, just like that. And then you have the 2 that are 3 by 5. So starting on the 5-inch side, you're going to store at a 1/2 inch. Turn it around so the 1/2 inch is closest to you. You're going to store it at a 1/2 inch again and 2 1/2. And then you are going to do a partial score down to about 3 1/2. What I like to do is just set another ruler or something across, or you can use your finger, to 3 1/2. So that's where we're at on that one. So we're gonna do that one more time because those are the side pieces. So 1/2 inch, flip it, so it's down here to the bottom, boop, 1/2 inch, 2 1/2, put this back about 3 1/2 and come down and score. Now we're done with the scoreboard, but not the scoring tool. We're going to keep that out for a minute. Because what we need to do is we need to connect here to this corner and here to this corner. And that's to give it the small gusset in our bag, our little clutch bag. And my sister said if you made this out of black, we can make a little disposable clutch bag you can use for an evening out, and instead of carrying a real purse. It'd be an interesting idea. People do strange things like that. Why not have a paper purse? So now we're going to do some burnishing. So this is our large piece. We're just going to fold those two pieces in. There's no cutting on this piece. Then we're going to grab the other piece here that has our the 1/2 inch, 1 inch area and a larger one. I'm going to burnish that. And then these guys, we're going to burnish the 1/2 inch score line around the whole thing. We're not going to do anything to the inside of this. We're just going to leave it alone for now. Once we start putting it together, it will automatically fold the way we want it. Okay, so cutting on this is very minimal. On this piece here, which is 6.5 by 3.5, on this 1/2 inch piece, you're gonna just take a little wedge off to make a tab. Okay, and these you're going to cut off the little square at the bottom and then miter to make tabs. So if you're like me, I just usually miter and cut at the same time, but you can do them separately. So they look like that. And then you're going to take a little bit off the top of each of these tabs. Little miter there. So that's what you're looking at. Okay. Like I said, there's not much cutting on this box. So we're back to, I'll do this the right way, square, miter, square, miter, and miter. And then we'll miter this one and this one. That is the remnants. That is the leftovers for this box. Like I said, it's not much. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is we need to attach our lid to our box. And we're attaching it to the back side because we're going to put DSP on this. So we're attaching it to the back. So it's going to go like this. So you got the 1/2 inch, this is 1 inch, and this is 2.5, I think. So those come like fold down across like this. So tear and tape. You could use glue if you want. I did some glue on the other one, and I went back to tear and tape. So we're putting that on the inside of this because we're going to hook it to the outside of the other box. And you want to make sure when you do this that you are coming right up to the fold line and right up to, so you're right at the fold line and you're right up to the edge here. Okay. Now, I like to decorate before I put sides on. In this box, since it is at angles, it is easier to decorate first. So you have to take and do this in a certain order. So let me see if I can get the order correctly. But the paper I'm using to go on the outside is this beautiful, oh, not that piece, is this beautiful shell pattern from By the Bay. So I've got several pieces. This one is 6 by 1 3/4. This one's 6 by 3 1/4. And then There's 2 pieces that are 6 by 4 1/4. Now, I don't know if you can see it on this camera or not. I'm going to hold it up to here. Can you see the edge of the paper? This is not white, and this one is. If you put that white on there, you're going to see that white from all angles on this card because it's going to show up. So, to solve that problem, I've done all the others. You grab Night of Navy, because this is Night of Navy, and you just literally tap your paper across it. It's all gone. So this is the white. You can see the white now. White's gone. And do it on all the sides. Anytime you have a DSP or something that has a white core and you're putting up against dark colors, it makes your card or your box or whatever you're making look a little more professional if you take the time to color that. So I said I wanted to use magnets on this card. So if I'm going to put magnets on, I need to start thinking about putting my magnets on this front piece here, because that's where the closure is going to be. So you can use whatever kind of magnets you like. I got these off Amazon. Not the box. The box is an old box. But these are still the same size. These are 8 by 1 millimeter magnets. It's a little thin. Tiny little magnets, really thin. And I need 4 of them. And I'm going to put them out here and try to space them out. Now, as my disclosure on magnets, if you're giving this to a child, or if you're giving this to an elderly person who has a pacemaker or heart condition, go back with the Velcro. Or use ribbon or something else to closure. Do not use magnets, okay? So, this paper, we're going to put it on this direction here. So let's look at the shell at the top. And this is directional paper, so I have to make sure which way we're going to go. And we know when this closes that this piece here is going to close down. So we know we've got a good inch here to play with. So what I'm going to do is grab a glue dot, because I want to hide these magnets. So I'm going to go, and I'm setting this on my grid, I'm going to go about 3/4 of the way in, and maybe, let's put this on about 1 inch in. Right about there. And we'll put this one here. Put it back on a grid so I can see what I'm doing. So about 3/4 and about 1 inch. And you can always bring in a ruler to see if you're halfway straight across there. That looks pretty good. And press hard. So we've got the first glue dots in, and now we're going to adhere our paper. Make sure my design is going the right direction. Okay. This has a 1/4 inch roughly. You want to go right up here. Now you are going to see the magnets, but the lid will cover that. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and put the back piece on. Remember, it's going to be upside. I've turned my paper around so it's facing me, so when I close it, it's still going the right direction. So when you're working with directional paper, just be mindful of what you are doing. Like I said, this is going to pretty much cover up that seam except for just right in the corners, and it is on the back, so it won't be that noticeable. Of course, this is the bottom. We're not going to worry about it. Now I'm going to flip this back around. Okay. So now we're looking at the top of the box. And we want everything to come towards me now. So I'm going to set it here. And this is the little 3/4. Now, this is the back of the box, so it's going to look odd. It's opposite. I want everything coming towards me now. And this is the last piece. And yes, I'm putting it on, and I'm not putting the magnets on the inside because the magnets will show through this paper, and I didn't want them on the outside of the bag. So I will show you what we're doing in a few minutes. In a few minutes, don't do that. Let me get this glued on and let me clean up my mess. Like I said, invite your friends in. I make mistakes and drop stuff all the time. Just one moment. I.e., that's why I keep baby wipes at the ready. I always have rags and baby wipes and alcohol and, whoop, don't take that away, just to clean stuff off when I spill something or drop something. Okay, hang on here while we let this dry for just a second. Okay, so all my pattern now is going the right way now. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to put the sides on before we attach. Well, we could attach the magnet. Let's go ahead and attach the magnets and then we'll put the side on. So the easiest way to do this, because you're going to fold this and you want it to come and fold just like this so it fits like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each of these magnets and I'm dropping it to where the other magnet was. It knows where its polar opposite is. And then I'm going to have something to drink. Sorry about that. And I had my glue dots here a moment ago. I'm going to put a glue dot on each one of these, trying to leave it as flat as possible, the glue dot. Okay. Oop. Okay, that's not bad. If you get a ball, pull it off and try another one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this up. I'm going to take this seam here, this one here, put line this up, line up the sides so it's all square, the way it should be when it closes, and press where those two pieces are. And now our glue dots, or our magnets, are up on top. Now, we want to cover those magnets because they look terrible. I know many of you still have your little punches and never got rid of them. I know some of the punches came back in the new electronic online exclusive, and I heard they are sold out within a day. But either cut a little circle, punch a little circle, punch a little heart. If you don't have that, cut a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch square to put over that. Just something to make it prettier than a magnet sticking out in the middle of nowhere. But I know that many of you probably have a little circle punch. I think it is a staple in every craft room. And then we're going to just put that over there to hide it. I'm doing it out of Night of Navy to match the Night of Navy I used in the base. I think I said that was Night of Navy. If I didn't, I'm sorry. But like I said, all the product I used will be listed below. The magnets, I'll list that I had magnets in there. Those are not a Stampin' Up! Item, and you would need to get those from another source. Like I said, I get mine from Amazon. There's a couple of outlets in the UK that sell them over here in the United States as well. That's where I first got mine. So you can look around to see what size you want, what brand. So that closes just like that. Now we've got to get something on the sides. And I got to tell you, this closes a lot nicer than the Velcro. So if you could not use magnets, I would leave the Velcro off, and I think I would tie a ribbon around that. Matter of fact, before we get done, I think we're going to tie a ribbon and see how this looks with a ribbon around it. So anyhow, now we need to do the sides. Going to need tear and tape. So when you're looking at your thing, the way you scored it, this one, you are going to put tear and tape on all three, and try to stick fairly close to the score line. The question is, will I have enough tear and tape? And you want to do that to both pieces. I did. It's almost out. I have another one on standby. Okay. So what you want to do first is you want to take off the bottom, and you want to take and fold this up like this. You see how I'm folding it in? And you want to take, and I'm going to take the two score lines and just sort of fold them up towards me with the tape, so the tape's facing up. And what I want to do is I want to line this up right at the edge and right in between each of the score lines. So it's laying just like that. So folding it that way and this way is just a little easier. I'll do it again. I'm going to fold these in, and I'm going to take this off and fold it back. So it's just easier to see what I'm doing. Let me try to move this in a little closer so you can see exactly. So I'm holding it like this, and I'm lining it up right in between the two score lines. I can see them right through here. Like that. Like I said, it's pretty easy bag. So on this side, we're just going to take them. I'm going to put one together at a time. I'm going to go ahead and pull two off, but I'm only going to attach one at a time. Oh, I have to move this back out now. Just a second. Okay, so I'm going to bring the first one up, the back up. And what I want to do is take my hand and start at the bottom and start going up. Make sure you got a nice 90-degree angle on that. And then we're going to bring this one up. Like I said, I like to start at the bottom as I've got my finger going up the side here. Oop, don't quite, no, don't do that. There we go. Now we're going to secure it down a little more than that. In just a second. Now fold those back over. This time I'm only pulling one off because I don't want the other one to stick when I'm doing the front. Just again, checking right along here, make sure it's nice and straight. Then we'll pull off the last one. And start at the bottom again. Just sort of make sure we're nice and straight and flush along the bottom. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my bone folder, and I'm going to go in here, and all those side seams, I'm going to rub them for just a little bit and make sure they are good and secure before we bend this thing. Now it's still square, rectangle, I should say. If you take and just push right here where you've got those score lines, all of this will start to come down. Now, depending on how much you have in here, see that even the fold lines here are starting to give that concave. Now, if you have this full of stuff, it's not going to bend like this. So then you just bring that down and it latches really nicely. You've got that nice look on our little clutch bag. And I do like the looks of that better than the other. But let's finish decorating this. We're going to try ribbon on that in just a second. So decorating our bag, you could decorate it any way you want. Yeah, that's good. So I just have these here. So I think I'm going to put on put the pink in the back. I'm going to just attach the pink in this one with a little bit of glue. And I'll stick that one down about like that. And grab some dimensionals. Oh, that's right. We get to open a new package of dimensionals. We ran out of dimensionals the other day. Just love when we get a new pack of dimensionals. Does anybody else get excited when they get a new pack of dimensionals? Or the tear and tape finally runs out that you've been working with for weeks and weeks and weeks? And we're going to just pop on a couple, or two on this one. And I think we'll set this one. About like that. Oh, I should have brought that down a little bit. Just a second here. Bring that down a little bit. And we'll put, hang on, I'm going to show you in just a second. And I'll bring this one like that. So that is our little clutch purse. So, like I said, it's with magnets. It's quite a nice size. And like I said, if you were going out, as my sister said, I could take it out to town and use it as my evening bag. I'm not sure I would, but it's an interesting idea. So, let's grab some thread or some ribbon. Hang on real quick. I don't know what color I have up here. Huh. I don't go for the color, guys. It's gray granite. This is Serious Sands, but I want to see how this would look instead of Velcro. I'm not overly thrilled with the Velcro. I know I put it together with Velcro. Oh, this is a good size too. A little shorter than I normally would tie, but okay, just to show, I think the Velcro is still making it hold out quite a bit, but I would tie a neater bow than that. This is a little short for me to tie, but I would say if you did not have magnets, I would go with a bow. Actually, that gray granite with Sierra Sands looks pretty good, actually. And maybe skip the Velcro. Like I said, it's pushing this out, and it just sort of takes away from the look of the box. But if you want to use Velcro, that's up to you. But so you've got really three options: magnets, Velcro, or just do ribbon around there. You could also, maybe if you wanted, you could tie ribbon this way if you wanted as well. But your call. Anyhow, this is my little clutch box. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And have a nice weekend, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.